A Plaguelands Media production.
Hey everyone, this is Hugh from Plaguelands Media bringing you another book review today. This time I'm talking about Champions of the Force. This is the third book in the Jedi Academy Trilogy by Kevin J. Anderson. Now, I have to admit right off the bat that I did not enjoy this one as much as I did the previous two books in this trilogy, Jedi Academy and Dark Apprentice. And I think part of the reason is that the story moves really fast at the beginning and then just kind of stagnates a little bit towards the end. So this is just going to be my honest review opinion. There will be spoilers, so if you don't want any spoilers, you can turn off the video now, go watch another one of Plaguelands Media's fantastic repertoire of videos. But yeah, let's just get right into the next episode of Okay, so if you remember at the end of Dark Apprentice, Luke Skywalker had been attacked by his student Kip Durran, the young kid that Han Solo rescued from the mines of Kessel in the first book. Kip is under the influence of the Dark Lord of the Sith, Exar Kun, and he has regained control of the Sun Crusher, and Luke has been kind of severed from his body, and he's now a Force spirit, although his body is kind of still alive. So the book opens with Kip heading to the Caridian system, where there's the Imperial, like the Stormtrooper training facility, I guess you would call it that. He has a huge chip on his shoulder over the Empire, and he wants to go and find his brother, who we know from reading the first two books was recruited as a stormtrooper and taken to Carida. You might remember that the leader of that training facility basically threw a drink in Mon Mothma's face at a reception in the previous book. That is going to come back a little later in this one. So he gets there, he gets to the system with the Sun Crusher. He basically tries to find his brother. The Imperials give him the runaround. He gets the shits and ends up sending one of the torpedoes that destroy the solar system from the Sun Crusher into the system's sun. He is then told that his brother is still alive. He ultimately tries to rescue his brother, but is too late, and he destroys the entire system, killing his brother in the process, which sends him batshit crazy. At this point, the other apprentices are trying to work out what's going on with Luke. Leia is there, and the ambassador from Calamari is there with her Jedi healing powers, and ultimately this storyline kind of wraps up in a really weak way, where the apprentices all kind of get together and defeat Exar Kun, and at the same time Luke wakes up, and so now Luke is back in the game. The Maw installation, where all the weapons is made, Chewbacca petitions the New Republic Senate to go on a mission and rescue the Wookiees that have been enslaved there, which they agree to. We see that Mon Mothma is getting sicker and sicker and sicker and is slowly dying. Now, while all this is going on, the guy that was the head of the Imperial training facility that we believed had been killed actually hadn't, because the Mon Calamari terpfen that he had experimented on had basically given away the location of the secret hideout that Han and Leia's children were at. Now there's only baby Anakin there with Han's handmaiden Winter protecting her. So he, in fact, escaped the destruction, but he knows where the child is. He knows where Anakin is, and his plan is to go and kidnap Anakin and make Anakin the new emperor as a Force-sensitive child. With the destruction of the planet, Turkfin realizes that the hold that the Imperials had over him is no longer there, so he hurries to Leia and he tells her what is going on. And Leia then takes him and goes and gets Admiral Akbar from Mon Calamari, and they head to Anoth to rescue the child Anakin there. Lando has made a deal with Mara Jade to reopen the spice mines of Kessel. Han is about to go off and find Kip and try and reason with him. Lando basically says, I'll come along, but you need to take me to Kessel. So they go off, they find Kip, Kip surrenders. Han takes Kip back to the Jedi Temple where Luke is now awake. Kip basically surrenders to Luke, and Luke is like, I can turn you from the dark side to the light side if you give me a chance. Leia, Admiral Akbar, Turkfin go to Anoth, and there's a battle going on as they're trying to get the kid, and they rescue the kid, and the Ambassador Fergan gets killed, and no one fucking really gives a shit at this point. Luke turns Kip from the dark side to the light side by taking him to a Sith temple where he has to face his fears, very much like the cave on Dagobah in Empire Strikes Back. Han takes Lando to Kessel, where they discover that there's a whole lot of shit happening, where the prison guy that initially imprisoned Han in Book 1 has kind of barricaded himself into the prison now. At the Maw installation, Wedge Antilles takes a squad there with Chewbacca and all of that, and they go to the Maw installation, but the scientists steal the prototype of the Death Star and decide to blow up Maw installation's reactor, thus basically wiping everything out. At this point, Admiral Darla, who we believed was dead from the second book but is actually alive, brings her final Star Destroyer, the Gorgon, back to Maw installation and sees that the rebels have it. There is a huge fight. Luke ends up getting there for some reason, and he and Kip kind of join in the battle as well. Kip realizes that Admiral Darla is there and that the Death Star is there, and the only way is to steal the Sun Crusher again and go off and do his thing. There's dogfights, there's space battles, parts of the installation are blown up. Han manages to get inside the Kessel base, and they manage to take out that guy. So Kessel is now basically under the control of Lando and Mara Jade. The Sun Crusher, which Kip is now piloting again, manages to trick the Star Destroyer, the Death Star, into circling a black hole where it and the Star Destroyer ultimately get destroyed, but not before Kip breaks all of his bones and puts himself in a message tube and shoots it out into space, which Han retrieves, and Han kind of gets him back. Admiral Darla, seeing that all shit is breaking loose, flees, so maybe she'll pop up in another book in the future. I don't really know, or the past, as that may be. So ultimately what happens is Lando has control of Kessel. We discover that the poison in Mon Mothma was nanobots, and the Jedi healer from Mon Calamari manages to draw them out of her, so she lives. Leia becomes the head of state for the New Republic. Luke has his Jedi temple, Kip has come back to the light side, and no one really gives a shit. This was I'm not saying it's a bad book, because it's actually a really fun trilogy, but they just dropped the ball with the final one. It just didn't live up to the first two books in the series. Again, it's not a bad book. It's a lot of fun. There's space battles. We get to see all of the characters that we love from the movies and from the previous books. So that's absolutely fantastic. But there was just too much going on at the beginning and not enough going on at the end, is my biggest complaint with it. So there you have it. That is Champions of the Force, Book 3 of the Jedi Academy Trilogy. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, leave a comment, have a drink. Hit the notification bell. But most importantly, stay safe. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Read a fucking book, people.